Welcome, everyone. I'm Marina Mamshina, and today we're going to talk about cognitive biases, both in personal and professional settings. Cognitive biases are mental shortcuts that happen because we can't process all the information that we take in. They are designed to help us survive and make sense of all that information. And they affect our decisions, and they affect the way we make our judgments. And we're all humans, so we all experience cognitive biases. So, for example, sometimes when you focus on that one negative interaction that you had at work, you experience negativity bias. It's the bias that makes us see and experience negative events as more significant than positive ones. So you concentrate on that one awful interaction and you just forget all the positive things that happened maybe at work today. Cognitive biases are built into the way we think. We're all affected by them, no matter how rational we think we are. They are just part of our human nature. And actually, we are here today because our ancestors made the right assumptions. For them, it was literally a matter of survival, right? Is that a scary lion or a friendly zebra? Is it fight, flight, or freeze? And those instinctive decisions shaped who we are today. But those survival instincts, they are great, but they're not always useful and beneficial in today's world. And they are especially problematic when we make decisions about people. And the great news is that our brains are highly adaptable. And that's thanks to the neuroplasticity, the ability of our brain to create lasting change. So new experiences and intentional cognitive interventions like coaching or just exposure to different experiences can help to rewire our brain to reduce cognitive bias. So biases don't have to define how we make decisions and definitely doesn't have to define how we act, but we have to be very, very intentional about it. So one last topic that we're covering in this introduction to bias video is what makes us most vulnerable to cognitive biases. The first situation is when we have too much information and our brain just gets overwhelmed and it starts to rely on what is familiar. And then we start to pay more attention to what we maybe already seen before or things that maybe confirm our previous beliefs. Another common situation is when we don't have all the details, right? And then our brain just tells us, oh, do you miss the context? No problem. I will just make something up for you, right? I will just fill those gaps for you. And it feels very helpful at the moment, right? But it's not always accurate. Another common situation, and it's very common, especially in today's world, is when we need to make decisions under pressure, right? So, for example, you have a very tight deadline at work and your brain just goes into this shortcut mode. So you skip that slow, reflective kind of thinking and you just rely more and more on instinct, which can be very, very biased. And another common situation is when we need actually to rely on our memory. And we usually trust our memory more than we should. Because even memories that we really trust, right? Even when we feel very confident that we remember something exactly the way it happened, it can be very, very biased. So those are four of the situations that make us even more vulnerable to biases. When we have too much information, we have this overload of information. When we don't have enough context, we don't understand the meaning. When we need to make quick decisions, when we are rushed to make decisions, and finally, when we have to rely on our memory. Thank you so much for watching. I will put in the description some additional videos about specific cognitive biases, how they affect specific work situations, the way we think, the way we interact with others, the way we make decisions. I invite you to subscribe. I invite you to follow my content. I usually talk about organizational psychology, about cognitive biases, about the strengths-based approach and positive psychology, and also about hiring and interviewing. Thank you and see you in the next video.